So thank you for joining us today. We already heard your speech in the opening ceremony. Now I have a question for you. And that is, both of you have many years of experience in diplomacy. So I would like to ask, what is the biggest impact both of you made in your profession, and what path took you to where you are today?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I've had more than 20 years as a diplomat now. I've worked in 4 continents. First, you have the huge impact on yourself. You're not saying when you start the career. There's so many inputs you get from different cultures that change your way of seeing the world. It's impossible not to. As a diplomat, and that's part of the nature of our work, we deal with different issues, different assignments, depending from which country you're posted to. And so the themes vary, the opportunities to make a difference also vary. But at the end, I think it's valuable, especially because you can see the world as one. You begin to feel actually although you're a diplomat, you're working for a specific border, specific country. You never forget about this, but you see the world as a world citizen as well, and you see that you learn to see how we have in common, and especially nowadays, the challenge we need to fight together. So it's very important. This is crucial in today's world that we don't even being a diplomat work for a specific state, that we don't lose this horizon. That's so important in today's world to tackle together all these major issues, as my colleague have explained in his brief speech about how important it is to all fight together for the sake of our planet, and especially dealing with the difficulties of climate change. Well, I'm not as experienced as my colleague. I'm a little bit newer to the profession of diplomacy. But I mean, I absolutely agree with the principles that it's about working together across borders and forming those relationships, both with the host government of the country you're posted in, this case, for me, the Serbian government of the Serbian system, but also with diplomatic colleagues from partner countries across the world, because as I mentioned earlier, it's all about how we work together for the big challenges. We can't really achieve them as individual countries. We have to work as part of wider groups, and that's why I think the United Nations and the Model United Nations program will teach you as students so many good lessons for the future. In terms of impacts, and I mean, I think I'm proud of what the UK has done in that climate diplomacy, hosting COP26 in Glasgow in 2021. And the kind of way we've put really stretching targets in our emissions reduction is something that hopefully is going to be followed by other countries around the world. So that's something I'm proud of, yeah.
Thank you. Now, question for you, Mr. Vander. So during your time in Copenhagen, you participated in COP15 negotiations, correct? So what were your biggest challenges you faced advocating for Brazil's climate interests and on international stage?
The COP15 was brought so much expectation. At the end, let's say that if you there was some success, but if you actually think what we expected beforehand, it's sort of frustrated so much. Let's put it clear. But there was some shifts at COP15, and I think I see as one of major importance is the increase of power diplomacy has having a saying in this matter. It's very important that we scale the cities that are locally affected by climate change, for instance. They have a bigger say. In Glasgow, we saw this is also the society more involved, increasingly more involved. So I think that's a way to go. We have in Brazil next year, we host the COP30, which is in line with our history of engagement in this matter. If you take for instance in consideration Rio 92 and Rio plus 20, those are also turning points, and now we are betting a lot for the next COP in Brazil. So going back to our questions, yes, COP15 was At the end was not the turning point we thought it would be, but it gave us a new horizon, especially if you consider now the engagement of civil society and municipalities.
Thank you very much. Now, question for you, since UK is on a plan of zero carbon emissions and everything, and we're looking in more and more sustainable development and energy matters. However, one of the big questions still stands, will the sustainable and renewable energy be sufficient for everything? Do you see, do you still see that the nuclear energy that a lot of nations out there are going against and also canceling, do you see it as still a sufficient and safer way than what we're currently doing?
Yeah, sure. I think the UK was the first civil nuclear country back in the 1950s to develop the technology. And we've obviously used it in other forms, like in the UK submarine fleet, the Royal Navy nuclear submarines. And I think the modern technology that you see in small modular reactors, these water-cooled reactors, it's been tried and tested over many decades. And the UK has a number of companies, one of them Rolls-Royce SMR, who is developing these next-generation small modular reactors, both for the UK market and overseas as well. And so the UK is in favor of nuclear power and increasing our capacity, and as well as it being a potential export opportunity for the UK. It's a zero-emission technology. The safety issues can be managed, and I think to have more renewable energy capacity where you have solar and wind growing and growing, you need that steady baseline nuclear or alternative baseline power to balance out the fluctuations that are present in the grid from more renewables, which are all intermittent. So nuclear definitely has a role in the future, and I think it's going to be a feature of many countries' future energy plans.
Thank you very much. That's the question for you. How did your experiences at the consul in diverse locations, such as Barcelona, Copenhagen, how did they shape your approach to diplomacy?
As a consul, it's a different assignment. We basically don't deal with head to head, state to state negotiation or relations, more on citizenry and this citizen state. So in Barcelona, for instance, we have a huge community of 30,000 Brazilians there. They are all involved in different professions, mostly students. It's a totally new it's a different experience, and that's important for especially for those who are thinking of becoming diplomats, because the consulate and the embassies, they're different paths, although they communicate, but it's I being both. So it's the good thing about being a consul is that it's you don't deal with the big issues, the big themes, the world. It's evolved, but at the end of the day, you go back home and say, "Oh, I helped that family. I did that something good for this kid that was lost, or this person." And you feel good. So in Copenhagen, it's a smaller community of Brazilians. In Denmark, at the time I was there, was about 1,500 only. They were all integrated, especially by marriage. So it was a the good thing about our communities abroad is that they help our brand as a country. And in a way, it's connected also to economics, since they be ones that bring overseas our way of life or our commercial brands. And Havaiana, Sundays, for instance, is everywhere in the world because the Brazilians took it abroad. So that's just to give an example. I was impressed when I arrived in Copenhagen. My first month, I was invited to be a part of this body that was judging the carnival, street carnivals. And it was exactly Brazilian street carnivals, but in Copenhagen, we would five samba schools, just like the way we do in Rio de Janeiro. So I think you connect your people abroad. It's a totally different experience as a diplomat, but it's very worth.
Thank you very much. So now, question for you: as a United Kingdom, a nation that has just recently, you can say, separated from the European Union, and here from the perspective of the Republic of Serbia, which is on the path to one day potentially join the European Union, do you see it as a beneficial thing for the Serbia to hold this approach to join and to incorporate into the European Union one day?
Yeah, I mean, we're very supportive of Serbia's European path, and I think it's sort of happening already, even though the accession process is taking longer than a lot of countries and a lot of Serbian citizens would have liked. You have 60% plus of Serbian trade going to Europe. You have Serbian people sending their children to study in European Union schools. You have Serbian people who enjoy holidaying in European Union capitals. So I think it's happening slowly. We want to make it happen faster and see the pace of reform speed up. But I think it's certainly going to happen. And I think it will really help Serbia diversify its economy further. It's a very strong economic performer, and the UK is trying to do more business with Serbia. But I think European Union membership will be greatly helped, and it will be a very good thing for Serbia. I don't think it's going to be too much longer.
Thank you very much. Now it's for sure for Mr. Costa. So you have worked extensively to defend the rights of Brazilian citizens living abroad. Now, what specific initiatives or policies do you believe are most effective in protecting expat users?
Communication. You need to breed good channels of communications with your community, and you can use a lot of tools for this. It concerns particularly with the culture. This community is inserted. So, but on our side, I think we should always find these channels. And we 20 years ago, Brazil, we now count for around 2 to 3 million Brazilians abroad. So it's a large community, and we decided to give voice to this community in our parliament in Brazil, so that they can directly vote, form the committees and representatives. This changes a lot because now we know what these different communities in different situations, facing different challenges, need from us. So we could better service them abroad, since we now have this ongoing talks and direct representation in Brasilia.
Thank you very much. And question for you, since the United Kingdom is a nation that has been highly developed and everything and such, it has faced a lot of problems in the past and politically it has overcome it. Its parliament is one of the oldest ones that it is. What do you see when it comes to politically, what is the main root cause of the problems the Serbia is facing now with a lot of protests and everything that are going on?
I think there are different reasons that different countries have issues with stability and security, and citizens in all countries have the right to voice their concerns about the government. I think it's all about having an open dialogue between the government and the people. I think Parliament is a good way to do that. I think also there are opportunities for non-parliamentary actors, civil society, non-governmental organizations who might be expert in different areas of reform or policy that they want to see changes. But I just think that the most important thing is dialogue. So whether you're an ordinary citizen who's on the street or whether you're a parliamentarian, everyone should be talking so that it's a sort of respectful dialogue and that things move forward, peacefully as possible.
Thank you. And the last questions were both to you. So since many delegates at the conference today, they want to pursue diplomacy and international relations later in their career. Was there any youth event that helped boost both of your career and as such like an MEN? And lastly, what is one piece of advice that you would like to give to a delegate who want to pursue this career on?
As I said downstairs, I wish we had this. At least in Brazil at the time, we didn't have any sort of simulation. But what actually stimulated myself was the exchange student program, living abroad for a year. Before that, I had thought about other careers, and that year abroad, I was a representative of Brazil, but in a way when you're an exchange student, you're invited to delivering some oral records about other countries or speeches, and that said, well, I like to live abroad, but representing my country and live abroad are even more interesting. So, but it's not a career for everyone, and because it's easy to be enchanted by international affairs and the variety of cultures, but it's at the end is not for everyone because it has a cost, and I'll say it has a strong emotional cost. So, living this sort of a gypsy life, it's you stop being nomads for some few years now. So humanity is not used to that anymore. So you're going against the tide. Like, it's so one say that there's a lot of benefit. In I think that the main benefits, it's not material. It's the this wealth you acquire from learning different cultures. That at the end you learn about how to interpret your own culture better when see it from a side, from the outside, say, oh, so that's been Brazilian. I didn't know because it took me for granted. Those raised there, I found it. No, okay, now I know what a Brazilian looks like. For me, that was how it should be, right? So this is something like you've shown your reflection to Biro. But it has a cost. I won't say it again, but it's something to think about. So if you can have an experience abroad before you take this huge decision, I recommend it. I recommend it because then you see if you really can feel comfortable with living with the cultures, distant from your family, from your old roots, and so on. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not a great deal to add to that. I also did have the opportunity to do Model United Nations when I was at school. I would have loved to. I think it's fantastic. And I can see why operating at this level, you get the bug for talking with other countries and trying to solve issues with across borders, as or across sort of virtual borders with your student friends. I also agree there can be a cost to the kind of the overseas lifestyle and the changes you have to make, go back and forth through your home country. But if you're curious and you're interested in the world, then I think the benefits really outweigh the negatives because, as my colleague says, you get a new perspective on your own country from living abroad. And that's something that I didn't think I would have. I thought I knew the UK quite well. But speaking with Serbia people about the UK, you get a lot of new insights and they're always productive and they help the feedback loop of making you a better diplomat to take on to new postings, which I think is very positive. So
Thank you very much.